Hey y'all, welcome back to TNT podcast. I'm your girl Tasha.
I'm T. What's up?
So there's a lot going on, and a lot of people have been saying their bank accounts are shrinking, and they're not doing so well.
Yeah.
But the people we think are doing well are also not doing well as well.
Okay.
And that is Hollywood.
Yeah.
And so I came across this video on TikTok, and it made me think about a few situations.
Right.
When TLC came out and said they were broke,
Yeah,
they
right.
were dead broke, and everybody was like, how could that happen?
Yeah, they were making hits.
Yeah, and they had like no money. And that was like the first ever I heard of someone being a celebrity, but not rich.
Yeah,
Usually we think rich and famous goes together.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
But what we're finding out more and more is that's actually not true. It's a facade.
Yeah.
And so everybody's struggling.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think that this is partly the fault of social media. Social media has given us access into the eyes.
Fault. It maybe has opened up everyone's eyes.
Yes.
I wouldn't place blame.
It has not only opened our eyes, but it's given us access to the world of some of these celebrities, in which we see some are doing very, very well, but then we see others who are just like, yo, I'm really kind of struggling to make it. Right.
And then we also, I think it was the writer's strike.
Oh yeah. The writer's strike was really,
and the actor's strike.
Right. When that happened, that was really the eye-opening moment.
Definitely.
Because then we seen people who were actually active actors on TV shows or sitcoms. They were participating in the strike because they were talking about how they weren't getting residuals from streaming companies, or
they could barely pay their bills.
They could barely pay their bills or live in LA or wherever they were living.
Right. And it makes you think, like, I know what I thought. I was like, well, my 9 to 5 ain't so bad after all.
Right. Well, and for me, it was always like, if you saw somebody on TV, you thought that they automatically had already made it and they were rich. Yeah. But then that's not the case.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to watch this TikTok and we're going to discuss further.
Okay.
But feel free to leave your comments or thoughts in the comment section.
Y'all are gravely underestimating how much people make in Hollywood. Maybe this is basically community theater on screen. Like, yes, you have the 1% of and like writers and directors and producers, but everyone else is like literally just surviving. Not even surviving. Like, you saw like the girl who was the lead of Gossip Girl. Immediately she was already like working back at the yoga studio. The editor of Garfield, that movie made like $615 million or whatever. He was working at Trader Joe's. Like, streaming did wreck the business. In February, the remake of my movie was a #1 movie on Amazon Prime for 4 weeks. You know how much money I got in residuals? $0 fucking dollars. And don't tell me, you must not have a good lawyer. I'm at the same firm as The Rock. I'm at UTA. Like, these are the heavyweights of Hollywood. And I'm not complaining about what I do. I love what I do, but I'm complaining about when David Zaslav makes $53 million, or $153 million, however the fuck he made last year, and then laid off thousands of people, and then doesn't greenlight any projects that will bring jobs back to TV and film. And then every other streamer is doing the same thing, because it's much easier for them to just make a golden fucking parachute, make millions upon millions of dollars, and then let the industry just starve to death. I'm complaining about that part.
So I thought this was very interesting because when I first saw one of his videos, he was talking about how the wealthy people at restaurants were very, very mean.
Okay, right.
And he is a server.
Right.
And so...
He's a server?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said that he was directing movies for Netflix.
My point exactly.
Oh.
So when I seen this video, I was like, oh, wow. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do to pay your bills.
Yeah, right.
But you never expect someone who has, I guess, made it.
Yeah, right.
To still have to have a side hustle or a regular job. You know? And you really can't have a regular job per se when you're an actor. So you have to maybe take gigs or something like that. And so... this really opened up my eyes even further because there's so many people trying to make it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and if they knew this, I don't think they would try to make it at all.
Yeah, right.
You know?
And that's I think that was always like the dream, or like you said before, the facade of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Thinking that everyone who was there was a part of the industry, and they
Right.
were rolling in the dough, or they were living this fabulous lifestyle, and that's not reality.
And you know the interesting thing is, I thought back to after I graduated from college.
Okay. Yeah.
And when I graduated from college,
Oh, you moved out to LA.
I did, but not for long. I didn't stay out there.
Right. Yeah.
Because not only did it not feel right, there was just a whole another set of issues that I never thought I would experience.
I bet it was probably a culture shock for like a Southern girl from Georgia going to LA and then seeing how the people are there. Because from what I've heard,
nice.
Yes,
They're not nice.
I'm from California. I was born and raised in California, and for the most part, the people in San Diego were nice. But I've always heard about people in LA. People in LA are completely different. It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I was like, yeah, I can't stay here. And even when I came back to Georgia and I got into a place that I always wanted to work, it was a magazine. I was like, okay, I'm in there. They wasn't paying, and they didn't want to pay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it was like, oh, you could go to these fabulous parties. And I'm like, I need to be able to pay my rent.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so there's definitely this facade that's around dream jobs that are in the industry.
Right. Yeah.
They don't pay. And at first, I thought it was just me. I was like, oh, maybe I'm doing something wrong. But these jobs don't pay. And so I'm just going to go get me like a regular 9 to 5 so I can pay my bills. And I didn't know there was like actual people that, you know, stayed the course,
Yeah. Right.
you know, for their dream job. But with that dream job, the money didn't come either, because you're not thinking that you won't even be able to pay your rent. Like, they are paying, by the time you like really think about it, either minimum wage or less.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then it's funny because the jobs could pay. They could pay pay a decent wage.
Oh yeah, but they don't
But
want to.
they're living in California.
Oh,
and
it made that worse.
Yeah, exactly. So a decent wage in California is, you know, because the cost of living there is it just messes things up.
Well, here's the thing. Now, if you go into the comment section, it's not even the cost of living. Like, the pay is not, it's just not there.
Okay.
And so they want you to be caught up in the illusion of TV, magazines, red carpet, and, you know, be grateful. And it's like, you can't even eat. Like, how are you going to be grateful?
People are starving.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
That's crazy. And I think that's one of the main driving factors of the migration of people leaving California.
Don't come here.
And coming to Georgia, because
we full.
Yeah, if you haven't seen, like, you know, there's a lot of new construction being built up in Georgia. They're building film studios here, and they're shooting movies. But a lot of actors are leaving New York and they're leaving LA to come to Georgia, and that's causing the prices of everything to go up. You know.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I like friendly people, and some of y'all not too friendly.
yeah. Southern hospitality, and
it's
now
ruined.
now it's going down. Right.
Well, that's all I have to say. I think this is definitely an eye opener, and it reminds me of when the guy from the Cosby Show, someone took a picture of him working in Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was like,
they were making a big deal about it.
Yeah, and you know, I think was trying to make him feel bad. And so I think the industry has kept up this facade for so long. Like, even the actors who weren't getting paid kept up this facade of, I'm doing well because I'm on TV for so long that the people who were making money just got away with it. And so the shame of that, I think, stop them from like speaking out, because we see what happened with TLC. Like,
Right.
how could you not have any money? You're stupid. You're this. You're a bad business person. And so now come to find out, ain't none of them got any money.
Yeah, right.
You know, you should have spoke up sooner.
Right, yeah. There's a small 1% of actors and people that work in the industry that are actually making all the money. So.
Yep. Right. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll see you in our next video.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all next time. Take care.